Hey, this is Monty Pittman. You're watching LoudGuitars.com. Check out my new album, The Power of Three, out on Metal Blade Records. We're here live at the Seymour Duncan booth at the NAMM show. Stay tuned.
Hey, Pamela Ashton here with LoudGuitars.com, and I'm thrilled to be standing next to Monty Pittman. Good afternoon, Monty.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy NAMM to you.
Oh, thank you. Happy NAMM.
It's like a holiday. We should say Happy NAMM.
I agree with you. I'm going to do that.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy NAMM.
I like Happy NAMM. I'm always happy at NAMM. Are you happy at NAMM?
Yeah. It's Thursday. Ask me Sunday afternoon.
That changes, it morphs a little bit. We're here at Seymour Duncan, and there's a very good reason for that, right?
That's right, because Seymour Duncan makes the best guitar pickups.
That's the truth, isn't it?
That is the truth.
Well, there we go. Okay. And to give you a little bit of history on Monty, in case you don't know who he is, Monty played with Madonna for many years. He played with Prong. He's got an acoustic record. His second record was a record breaker with the Kickstarter program. I did a bit of homework.
You did.
You do a lot of stuff. So you have writing credits with Madonna, with Prong. You did an acoustic album.
Yeah, I did an acoustic album, and I just released my third album. And Metal Blade Records released it. It's called The Power of Three. You can get it right now. Right now. It's out.
It just dropped 2 days ago.
It just came out Tuesday. It got to number 14 on the iTunes metal charts. So that is just, the response has been outstanding. I'm glad everybody's enjoying the album. And
that's phenomenal. Now, it's got the same title almost as your acoustic record. Am I right?
No, the acoustic album is called The Deepest Dark. And then the second album is called Pain, Love, and Destiny. Oh, you know what? Oh, you're talking about, I did an
MP3.
Okay, I did an EP, and I was going to call it MP3, like Monty Pittman 3. Well, we had a lot of trouble with, like, retailers don't want to call something that is an audio format, just because it's the same.
Okay, I understand.
If I could do that over again, I would have called it something else. But that's where originally the idea was. And then I had some acoustic songs, and I did some heavy songs. And Fleming Rasmussen produced the album, and I played it for Brian Slagle at Metal Blade, and then he offered to sign me.
That's amazing.
Never even imagined that. But
can we talk a little bit about the Kickstarter campaign? Because that's an interesting an interesting avenue for people that are starting out, right? Or that are looking to do a project but lacking the funds. Can you talk to us a little bit about your experience with it?
Yeah, well, when I did it, Kickstarter was new, and a lot of people didn't know about it. And they, when I heard about it, I was like, I don't want to ask fans for money. But I learned about how it's incentives, so I could, like, teach guitar lessons. What really helped was doing house parties. So I will just come and do a show at your house. And so people collectively kind of got together and made that happen. So that was really good. And then that got it to the most popular page on the first day. And so I made the goal small. A lot of people make their goal of what it's going to really cost to do the album, and then they never, or a lot of times they don't reach the goal, so they don't get to they don't get any of the funds. So I made it for $5,000, and I figured if I got that, then I could at least just mix the demos that I had done myself. And then it just took off. It was the most money anyone raised for a rock album. And I mean, now everybody knows about it. And I used it again to do this album, and I launched it right before Christmas, which is not a good idea. And I knew that going in, but I figured anything would help. And it did. It helped us fly our gear to Copenhagen and have a place to stay, and it helped out with all of that. So next time maybe I'll do it for a tour or something. Or with the music industry, like, once you think you have it figured out, it goes somewhere else. And you're seeing more and more of these kind of projects not make it. I mean, because there's so many more out there. But it's constantly changing, and it's definitely a way to to help fund whatever project there is. There's so many. I mean, like people make books, and there was a guy that made a watch, and it made like $1 million. And that was one of the things right before I did it. And you never know. You can find really cool artists that way. There was this one guy when I was doing mine, and he lived in a trailer in Tennessee, and he had some really cool acoustic music, and I love that kind of stuff. So you just never know. Just make your goal reasonable with your fan base if you're thinking about doing one.
Okay, and be agile, because you've done everything from playing Super Bowl, playing guitar with Madonna, and then doing one-on-one lessons. And I understand you're still teaching?
Yeah, I'm still teaching. Like I'll go away for a Madonna tour, and it could take a long time to build that back up. And I just recently teamed up with the School of Rock, because I make house calls, and I still do that. You can find me on my website. If you're in LA, I'll come to your house and teach you. But I started teaching at the School of Rock to have a place where people can come to me. And if you don't know about School of Rock, that is an amazing. If you can't beat them, join them, I guess you could say. But just what they have to offer, and to all these kids, it's amazing. Teaching for me helps me know it in a different way, and it just keeps everything fresh.
That's what I was going to ask you, because the fulfillment levels must be very different, but perhaps it's something different that's getting fulfilled with each of your musical endeavors.
Yeah, you're just always thinking in a different way. And I started teaching a lot of vocal students, and that is weird for me, but I took so many vocal lessons to get at the point that I'm at, like what you'll hear with the Power of Three right here, that applying that with what I know about guitar or teaching guitar, and then putting all that together. And what's cool with, like, to the vocal students that I have, is I teach them, like most vocal teachers will teach you on a piano, but I'll show you on a guitar. So there's like different ways you can approach the notes, like bending the notes, because a lot of times when someone goes to sing a note, you kind of slide up into that note, and so you can strengthen that part of your voice by bending the notes. And so that's been something that has been successful, because the students are getting better at it.
That's kind of exciting. That must be very fulfilling on a personal level to see that.
And then it helps me understand in a better way of what I need to do for my own, this journey of learning how to sing that I'm on.
And what are you playing through guitar-wise right now?
There's a new company called Jarrell Guitars, and unfortunately they're not here this year, but they have my signature model called the MPS. And I met them here a couple of years ago, and I got one of their guitars and loved it, and kept playing it, and they offered me a signature guitar, and then it actually wound up being a really cool. Like, for me to have a signature guitar, I can't, especially with a Madonna gig, it's hard to just do one sound. You got over 30 years of a person's career and all this different material that were recorded with different guitars, different times, different setups. And so it's a guitar that can do everything. It's like the ultimate studio guitar, and it plays great, sounds great. And you'll hear it on this, the Power of Three.
That's great. You've got the business behind you. You've got the talent. You're warm and excited. It's nice to talk to somebody who's still every bit as excited about the music industry, because people often will complain about the changes, but they don't embrace them, and you seem to be ready to dance.
Well, music revolves in cycles in every which way, from the theory side of it to what's cool this year may not be cool next year. And one of the true tests is that if you listen to something and you still like it, like I've been talking a lot about like bands that influenced me making this album, like the old thrash bands, Metallica, Anthrax, Slayer, all that, with like Pantera, Alice in Chains, Prong, Sepultura, and then like some of the death metal bands, Cannibal Corpse, and all of that. Like, I still listen to that, But some things I listened to 10 years ago, I may not listen to now, unless it's like the Helicopters or the Datsuns or something like that. And so people's tastes change, and then or if it fits a certain time in their life. Your music's the soundtrack to your life of what you grew up listening to. But those are recordings that I still listen to like they're brand new.
Yeah, it's like coming home.
And you know what's something interesting? Something I've been saying, and I feel like I sound like a crazy person saying this, is people would ask me about Spotify. What do you think of Spotify? And as for a teacher, it's amazing, because especially teaching a lot of kids, like 5 to 10 years old, of course they're going to like things like One Direction and Taylor Swift, things that I do not have in my iTunes library. But I can go and look up the song and play it and show them how I'm figuring it out. It's these notes, and just to get them to play something. Because one of the biggest challenges is having them play something, is the teacher and the student knowing the same song. Like if I say, all right, Crazy Train, and if they're 5 years old, they're going to be like, no, what's that? Oh, it's a song from, I guess that was the early 80s, song way before you.
From vinyl.
Yeah. And I say that, like, Spotify reminds me of when I was a kid, and you'd have a cassette tape and you would high-speed dub another tape, right? You could easily get another or a copy of whatever you wanted to listen to, but the quality was not as good. Like things on Spotify, and it could very well change any day, but the quality is not as good as what you hear on iTunes. And that's crazy, because when iTunes first came out, people would say, oh, the quality sucks, it's not as good as the CD, it's all compressed or this. But a friend of mine just told me the other night that his dad had a record store. It was in the early 70s. And he said, it was talking about when his dad sold the record stores that he had to Sam Goody, and that the music industry was just like crushed. And I was like, what? And he said there was something about vinyl and like the oil embargo with Cuba or something, and it was expensive to make vinyl, and how that affected the industry. And then people started buying cassette tapes. And I was like, that's exactly what's happening now. Music goes in cycles.
That's interesting. I've never seen it from that perspective.
I've never heard that before, and when he told me that made a lot of sense of how that kind of works with something now.
Oh, that's cool. So what's next for you?
Trying to book as many shows as I can and play as much as I can. If you're in LA, we're playing the Whiskey February 22nd. And it's a Saturday night. We'll be playing around 11:15, so you can hear this live. And as of now, I'm doing all of this myself. And the material's just now getting out there. The album just came out Tuesday. And to a lot of people, they're like, well, what are you doing? There was this acoustic album, and then there was this rock album, but you played with Madonna, but you played with Prong too, and like, what are you doing, and how do you do these different styles of music? To me, you got 12 notes, right? And it's just a different setting on the amp that's going to give you, or a setting on the guitar that's going to give you a different style of music.
There's a massive freedom that comes from not pigeonholing yourself into one genre. You being able to move and play what moves you and just let it come through you, and you're basically hosting the music for a period, right?
Yeah, and that's a great thing about playing guitars. I can play whatever music I want to hear.
That's great. I'm so appreciative that you stopped to talk to us today. Thank you so much. Good luck with the album, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks so much. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Thanks for listening. Check it out. Check it out.